Wouldn't it be nice if there was some way you could talk to your crop and it could just tell you, hey, Brian, I'm short on some potassium. Could you feed me a little bit more potassium? Wouldn't that be awesome?
I hear those voices all the time as I walk through our fields, Brian, because I'm looking at our plant tissue analysis results. And when you look at plant tissue analysis results, that's exactly what it's doing. I call it the report card for the farmer because it tells you exactly how good your fertility program is. Are you putting the right amounts of the right products out there at the right time for your plants? When you look at a plant tissue analysis, it's going to tell you, depending on the stage of growth, what nutrient levels you are at and what your target levels should be. So it'll rate them as you're excessive, you're high, you're sufficient, you're low, you're deficient out in the field on various nutrients, including nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, but also secondary nutrients like sulfur and calcium and magnesium, and of course the micronutrients. And I think it's critical to get a complete analysis so your plant can tell you the whole story.
Okay, but here's the thing. You'll talk to some agronomists out there and they'll say, well, that plant tissue testing, it's not very accurate, or it's hard to use that, or something like that. Well, here's the reason why they're wrong. If you look at just one day, one test, one time, one spot, they're right. I agree 100%. But if you do what we suggest, and that's go out every week for 10 to 12 weeks, starting right away with corn and any grass plant, or starting a little bit later in the season with any broadleaf crop like soybeans, you go out for that 10 to 12 weeks, once a week, first thing every morning, you pull plant tissue samples. I will guarantee you by the end of that 10 to 12 weeks, you'll have a pretty good idea what's going right and what's going wrong in your field, and you'll be able to tweak your fertility program going forward. Now, if you want to do some side dressing based on plant tissue results, or you want to do some foliar feeding, you certainly can. But what Darren and I use the data for more than anything is, like he says, it's the report card for how good a job did we do with our pre-emerge soil fertility program. And what we learned on our own farm, here, let's step back about 15 years ago when we first started doing this plant tissue analysis. The reason why we did it is every year we get to the end of the year and we'd say, boy, we thought the corn was going to be better. What do we need to do? And we'd talk about it with our dad and everything, and he'd say, well, let's just put more nitrogen on. That'll probably do it. And we weren't getting anywhere. And so somebody suggested, hey, why don't you do this plant tissue testing? So we started doing it, and we realized every single test that was coming back, we were excessive on nitrogen and we were completely deficient on potassium, boron, and zinc. So the very next year, we didn't have to spend any more money on fertilizer. We just took some of our nitrogen dollars, put that into potassium, boron, and zinc, and what do you think magically happened to yield? Our yields went up, our costs stayed flat, so obviously we made a lot more money. That's fun. That's what we're looking for on the farm, and that's what plant tissue testing can help you do. So here's exactly what we want you to do. Continue to do a good job with soil testing, or even do a better job with soil testing, and especially learn how to read your soil test. That's super important. To supplement that, we want you to do some plant tissue analysis. So you don't have to do every field every year or anything like that. If nothing else, for this year, just get started with one field and mark the best area and the worst area in that one field, and either use a flag or use GPS coordinates and go back to those same two spots every Monday morning for 10 to 12 consecutive weeks. When you pull plant tissue spots from those two areas, send them in separately, have them sampled separately. By the end of that 10 to 12 weeks, you're going to have so much great information. It's really going to help you change your fertility program for the better going forward. And most importantly, it's going to help you best invest your fertilizer dollar in the right thing.
Well, plant tissue analysis is very important. It can certainly help you change your fertility program on your farm to start accelerating the yield gains that you're getting with your crops. The other thing you can pull when you're out in the field pulling plant tissue analysis is you can pull our weed of the week. It might be a good way to get rid of this week's weed. Can you identify it?